go, guys. Final stop of the Morristown Marine. Stop number 5. We're on Watts Bar Lake. Going into this one blind, just like Norris. Messed up the SD card on Norris. Took it from one camera to the other. Format wasn't good. Basically nothing saved at all. Wonderful. Didn't even get Snyder's sight fishing going on there. But we're down here blind. We're going to go run, see if there's a shad spawn going on this morning. It's a full moon in May, just to check it. Water temperature 67. After we do that, we're going to head up the lake a little ways. Chickamauga's open in this tournament, so there may be some guys locking through. It'll be interesting to see. I think if you see some really big bags show up today, it's probably from down there. So we're going to go have some fun, though, catch some fish, look, see if there's any betters. But keep checking in today, guys. But again, that's what we're doing today. Looking for a shad spawn first and go shallow this afternoon. They say you're supposed to get some sunlight, so we'll be able to look for some. Looking for 5. That's all we want today. Give us 5. Norris was a train wreck. Couldn't find anything. Had one fish. Threw it back. But we're going to go find us 5 fish today. 5 green ones, hopefully. So, see y'all later.
All right, so looking on the map, you know, we kind of had a plan for starting the day. We were going to start on a little short pocket just off the main lake, and the focus was these seawalls and riprap. Again, that's going to attract the bait fish during a shad spawn. And when we pulled in, we were very happy to see how much of a shad spawn was going on. The bite was a little bit slower than I thought it would be with how much action there was, but we got a few bites here, picked up a couple keepers. Problem was we started catching some smallmouth as we work our way around to this point. Couldn't get any keeper smallmouth in that situation. But again, the spinnerbait was a big player here. And just slow rolling that spinnerbait through areas where these the shad were spawning on these docks or spawning on that hard cover. And that was really key to getting our day started, was capitalizing with a few bites on that shad spawn with the spinnerbait. Later on, it died off a little bit, but we did pick up one more after we moved up towards Caney Creek. But again, capitalizing on that shad spawn was really big for us here early in the morning with that spinnerbait bite that was happening.
I don't know. Look this. There's another one. What is it? Foot string, though. Looks good. Another brown one. Are you kidding me? We have to leave. We don't have to leave. Both flip in. So, points or smallmouth? Fine then.
Okay, midday update. We got 3 in the box. Shad spawn was going on this morning. We caught some on a spinnerbait early on our first spot there. Found what we thought was a spawner when we came up to Caney Creek. She's probably about 2.5, 2 3/4 pounds. But actually a fry garter, and she will not touch anything. We've tried to annoy her or him as much as we possibly can, and can't get any sort of action. No wind right now. I'm still hoping for some wind to come in this afternoon. Might make that spinnerbait bite come back alive, but right now it's kind of died off. The last few fish we've caught have been on flukes and a floating worm, so trying to go a little more subtle to match up the conditions because it's really calm right now. Still overcast and stuff. We're going to head back to some of these main lake points with some riprap and rock and work back in these pockets. They even do a little graphing offshore and see if there's anything on some of these points out a little bit deeper. So that's where we stand right now. 3 fish in the box and get us 2 more to be happy.
So other than the shad spawn bite early that morning, the other thing that we were able to duplicate throughout the day was getting into the backs of these pockets around some cover. In this case, we're just down from Caney Creek here, and we're in the back of the pocket, and there's some rocks in the back, maybe some laydowns. But taking that floating worm or that fluke, both weightless, and just working it through these areas very slowly and methodically, we were able to duplicate bites, and that's where we were able to pick up some keepers here later in the day. Now, again, we're happy with getting these bites. We're not getting quality, which is a little bit frustrating. But one thing that we don't know at this point is later on in the day, we talked to some guys back at the ramp, and there was a barge in the lock that morning. So a lot of the guys that were planning on making that run down to Chick couldn't get through. Now, some guys did. They still stayed committed. They had a later boat flight, later boat draw, so they were able to get in that lock after the barge was out, make their way down there, head for Chickamauga, get back in time to weather fish. But a lot of people had to abandon that game plan that they had there of heading down to Chick, which benefited us a lot, okay, because they had to come back up and go to some backup plans for them. And again, for us, we capitalized here on this floating worm fluke bite back in these pockets with, I'm sure, what were probably fry garters. And then also, at the very, very end of the day, we decided to head back to that starting area where that bait had set up in the morning and the shad were spawning. They had pulled off the bank. They were set up in the middle. And with the live scope, we were able to see fish moving through those bait balls. So I start throwing a little bit bigger Kitech, a 3.8, and just slow rolling it through those bait balls. And we catch our biggest fish of the day at the very end to help us upgrade, which gave us a decent finish here to end the regular season with Morristown Marine and Watts Bar. But again, guys, it was a struggle. It was a grind. These tournaments, as you get into this major transition period, always are. You got that shad spawn in the morning, and if you haven't had time to really dial in something offshore, you know, we like to stick shallow. We like to focus on what we know and hang around the areas where we've gotten some bites that morning. And it paid off, again, with a solid finish. For us, thankfully, that barge was in the lock, which kept some guys from going down to Chick, which would have padded those weights, and you would have seen bigger bags throughout the standings. Snyder had a couple here that broke us off, or they lost, that I would like to have seen what they were. They were very, very solid fish. Could have been some smallmouth that still would not have kept, but they looked like they were really good. So I wish we could have had those back to see what they were. But again, happy with the day, the progression of staying focused, keeping a little bit of an open mind as we went, and then making that lake day upgrade.
Hey, bud. That's Roy wanted to end it.
Okay, so as you saw there, it was a last second deal to get that 5th one, but it was important. Biggest fish of the day on a Kitech. Got a couple bites on a Kitech there towards the end. Wind picked up. That bait had moved back out in that pocket where we started instead of up on the bank. But we got our 5, had around 11:30, so happy with the day. They just had an 18-pound bag weighed in, but 16 was leading there for the longest time, and 13 pounds has got people sitting way up in the standings right now, so we'll see. But again, started off that shad spawn. Spinnerbait was the key this morning, and then this afternoon we started to pick up some fish, or late morning pick up some fish on a floating worm, and then finally we finished out the day with swim baits. Thought really the spinnerbait would get a bit better this afternoon, but that just, I don't know, never materialized. We did catch another one, but just no keepers. So again, final term of the year, 11:30 something, walking away with 5. Very happy, guys.